Welcome back to Danny Phantom Month. Today we are talking about episode 10, Shades of Grey. This is the first episode where Valerie becomes a real character, and it's pretty fun. So the plot of this one is there's this ghost dog that ends up destroying this place called Axiom Labs, I think. Basically this technology facility that Valerie's dad works at. And so he's in charge of security, so when it gets destroyed and their new security system fails, Valerie's dad loses his job, and so they have to like straight up sell their house. And even on top of that, when the dog shows up again and it ends up destroying most of the stuff that they owned that they had to sell during a garage sale. Valerie goes from this character who is really rich and popular to now someone who can't afford to go out with her friends, and so they kind of neglect her and she's suddenly all alone. So it's this really kind of cool transformation of what was previously a background character into now a fully fleshed out person with sympathetic motivation and a kind of cool origin. She realizes that Danny and this ghost dog are kind of destroying everything that's important in her life and is caused her to, you know, suddenly be poor now. She kind of gets this grudge against ghosts, and then she gets a package from Wisconsin in the mail, which turns out to be this like high-tech battle suit and hoverboard that's all like ghost hunting equipment, which ends up being sent by Vlad. So this is actually Vlad's second appearance. He doesn't end up having any lines, but it's cool for a couple reasons. One, Valerie becomes this badass ghost hunter who becomes a main recurring anti-hero for the rest of the series. And two, this opportunity was seized by Vlad, who we know from the previous episode agreed to not directly, but you know, Vlad's craftier than that, and of course didn't say anything about influencing other people to attack him. Tucker tries to make a move on Valerie because he's like, oh, she's no longer popular, now's my chance, which is kind of in character for Tucker, who's kind of shallow like that. But he has had an established crush on Valerie in previous episodes, so it's not completely out of character or anything. And then Valerie realizes that, oh right, Danny's parents are ghost fighters. Maybe if I like actually hang out with Tucker, I might be able to learn something about fighting ghosts. So they kind of start dating, but not really. It's just Tucker carrying her books around. Anyways, there's a great line where Danny says, great, my best friend has a crush on a ghost hunter. And then Sam says something like, well, that's life. Your life anyways. And just another kind of great example of what the show is like, where Danny's crazy ghost fighting life is interfering with his everyday high school life. The plot with the ghost dog is kind of weaker in this episode. I think that's probably why it doesn't fully work for me. So this ghost dog, I guess, was previously a guard dog at the Axiom Labs, and then they're like, we don't want to have guard dogs anymore, so I guess they killed it. And now it's a ghost and it just wants its chew toy back from the labs. And so it keeps trying to get back to the labs. That's why it was there in the first place and wrecked it and stuff. And Danny keeps trying to stop it from destroying shit. All that it ends up being is that the dog wants its chew toy back, and then it gets it and then it leaves. And it doesn't just like leave, it like vanishes. And it's really weird because that doesn't happen ever again, so I don't know what that means. Because I think the dog shows up later too, so, or maybe I'm thinking of the wolf ghost. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's just kind of weird. And also, this ghost dog has the unexplained ability to just phase through the ghost portal when it's closed. Like normally ghosts come in through the ghost portal, but then like you can close it and then they can't get through. And in this one, like, it can just phase through that somehow, and they don't really explain why that is. So no matter how many times Danny throws it back to the ghost zone, it just comes back in because it does. So that's like another kind of weaker element of this episode. And this one also is sort of strange as a story, because like it's more of just like a setup for Valerie as a character. That being said, Valerie is a really, really cool character, and I want to make that extremely clear. how many other shows have a badass female black anti-hero character that's just like part of the cast? Not many, and even fewer of this era. So she's extremely like notable and important. She also has like understandable motivations. Ghosts did cause her to lose her father's job, and which causes her to be poor and suddenly unpopular. But she goes kind of through a full transformation and arc in this episode, which is basically her origin episode. And now she's a main recurring character. Although they do end up using her in much more interesting ways later on, this still is a crucial episode just in the fact that it sets up Valerie, who goes from a background popular character to a poor person who is no longer popular to this badass anti-hero ghost hunter. And not many characters have that development in cartoons. Oh yeah, there's Sam and Danny kiss in this one, but it's a fake out make out. It's like the Winter Soldier, like, kiss me because public displays of affection make people uncomfortable. It's like that, where they're like trying to distract the person from the real thing. And it's sort of interesting because it's played very asexually in this episode. Like in later episodes they'll do a similar thing and they'll like lean into that Danny and Sam kind of have a bit of a crush on each other. But like it's really downplayed in this one, which is, I just find sort of interesting because it's the first time that they kiss and it's played as like the most friendly thing possible. They also reference Dumpty Humpty, which is a band, and they're called Dumpty Humpty. They reference them in other episodes. That's why the only reason I'm mentioning it. It's the first time that they show up as a thing. I think that's about it. So another episode that shakes up the status quo, bringing a minor background character into a major supporting character who's also a really cool anti-hero character in their own right, and who we will see in the future gets used in much more interesting ways. An important episode for setup as well as like some cool world building. This is the first time that we get to see Vlad again in a new capacity. And again, this show is really cool for like just changing up things and going in a different direction with some of their supporting characters. This just exists now in the universe and it's not a one-time thing. It's like she's full on an anti-hero for the rest of the series. So thank you for watching and tune in next time for more Danny Phantom.